Hello, friends, and welcome to your first lesson in Microsoft Excel. All right. So first of all, this is a big program, and we're going to take it nice and slow. I know a lot of you guys are going through this program for the end result of certification purposes, so hopefully we can get through that together, all right? And this is just lesson one, but you can kind of see here with this worksheet that I do have attached in the description below. You can see here that I have what's called two worksheets inside of a workbook. If you look up here, the title of our workbook is actually called Excel Pixel Art, or sorry, just Pixel Art Workbook. And this whole thing is called a workbook. Down here, these are our worksheets, and you can add as many worksheets as you want to any one workbook. Notice how if I'm clicked on sheet 1 and I hit the plus sign, it's going to put a new worksheet right in the middle of sheet 1 and sheet 2, which is fine. And if I didn't want that to happen, then I can just kind of click and drag it to the end. So I've got sheet 1, sheet 2, and sheet 3. The other thing that I can do with my worksheets that you will probably want to do to keep track of everything is to rename your worksheets. So I'm going to right click down here and I'm going to go ahead and say rename, and I'm going to call this one Mario. Down here, I'm actually going to right click on this one and I'm going to rename it, and I'm going to say student choice. It's kind of a choice. It's up to you, and sometimes your teacher, but this is what I picked out for you guys to use. Your teacher might say you can use other things, and that's fine. It's fine. The other thing I'm going to do, since we went ahead and added a new worksheet down here, is I'm just going to right click on it and I'm going to go ahead and delete it because we don't need it. All right, we don't need her. And the other thing that I want to go ahead and tell you guys is something about rows and columns. And this is something, for some reason, my students always get confused. See up here how you have these letters up here, and when I click and drag across them with my downward, see how when I hover, okay, let's talk about something first. Before we even get to rows and columns, let's talk about something. Let's talk about our three little cursors here. See how I have this like white cursor right here? This is my selection cursor in Excel. And what it does is it selects a range of cells, or maybe just one cell, right? This is just one cell. This is cell F7, all right? Or it can select a range of cells like this. And this range of cells would be called D6 to F8, all right? And it's always listed like this, D6 colon F8, like that. That's how you write a cell range. That means you're going to start in cell D6, you're going to go over to F, and you're going to go down to row 8, all right? And that's how you read a cell range. If I just wanted a cell address, then a cell address would just be this. This cell address right here is D6. This is where this cell lives. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. So that's our selection cross. This is called a cell. This is called a cell range. The other thing I want to show you is something called your move cross. So let's just say that I shouldn't have deleted that. Let's just say that I do have a cell range right here. Notice how when I hover my cross right here, my white cross, my selection cross over the border of the cell, see how it turns to a four-pronged arrow? That's your move. That's your move arrow. So you can grab that and you can move it anywhere you want. And this is good for formulas and everything else. When we get into formulas later, remember that. The other thing you can do is if you hover over, see this little green thing right in the corner? If you hover over it like this, see how my cursor has now turned in to like a little skinny black cross? I can pull it down and it'll copy if I want it to. See, I can click this and say copy, or I can say fill series. And it's really smart, and it'll just kind of continue D7, D8, D9, D10, D11. So if I just had like numbers, like let's say 6, all right, and I pulled that down, it would start with 6 and just kind of count up if I said fill series. If I say just copy cells, it's just going to fill it with a bunch of 6s, all right? So two different things that you can do with your fill handle. So we've got our crosses. We've got our white cross, which is our selection cross. We've got our move cross, right, which means we can just move our selection. And then we've got this fill arrow that we can just kind of pull down like that. Now let's talk about columns and rows in Excel. And to do this project, we're not just going to select a bunch of columns like this. And in Excel, your columns are denoted by letters up top. And they just kind of keep going on and on and on and on and on. If you get to the end of like the Z's, it'll just start with like AA and then BB and then column CC and then DD. And then once you get to the end of that, it'll be like AAA, BBB, and it just kind of keeps going. And then over here are your rows, and these are denoted by numbers. All right, so these are your row numbers, these are your column letters. And what I want to do is I want to kind of select the entire worksheet. All right, and to do that, see this little thing right here in the corner? I'm going to click this, and it's going to select all of my columns and all of my rows. And then what I can go ahead and do is I can right click on a column letter, any column letter you want, and go to column width. And for this particular project, you're going to shrink your column width down to 1. All right, and your Mario picture is going to move. You can just move this, drag this, and move this over. It's not going to change its size. Go back and select this again, select everything. Right click on a row, whoops, right click on a row number now and say row height. And for this one, I want the row height to be 10. And see what I did here was I made my spreadsheet like these little bitty squares that now I can kind of try to copy this Excel pixel art with, right? And what this is just getting you guys used to some of your tools. This is going to get you used to your cursors, the 3 cursors we just talked about, and it's also going to get you used to this little fill thing right here, all right? And this is going to be your best friend. So let's start this. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of this. So if I want to start this Mario right here in the top row, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red squares. All right, so with my selection cross, I can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red squares, and then come up here to my paint bucket and then fill it red. Here's another little trick that I'm going to show you. If you are on a laptop, press Fn, and at the very top of your key, you see the little F4 key, hold Fn, and then press F4. And what that does is it repeats the last thing that Excel did, right? So instead of me copying this down here, I know I have to get 1 square off to the side, and I have to get 3, looks like, nope, I need 1 more. All right, so I'm going to pull it over with my fill handle. So 3 squares over here, so for the red, all right? And then I'm going to go ahead and press F4 on my keyboard, and what it's going to do is it's going to fill, of course it's not doing it right now. Here, let me try it again. Boom, and then here, let me just show you what F4 does. Boom, okay? So, but F4 is not a, oh, I know why it didn't work. F4 is not a shortcut to fill with whatever color you have selected. F4 is to repeat the last action that you did in Excel. So if the last action that I did in Excel was pull a selection over, which I did, then that becomes what F4 does, all right? So let's just like, now that I have, let's say, let me fill this again red and make sure that that's the last thing that I did. Let's say I want to do these 3 squares right here. It starts right here, and then I'm going to add 3 squares over, and I'm just going to go ahead and press F4 on my keyboard. The other thing that you can do if you really want to get crazy with this and you really want to get fast with it is use your fill handle. So look at this little piece right here and see how the red needs to come down and then over. I can just pull it down. 1, like that, and then click on this cell again and pull it over 2. And see how it fills like that with my fill handle. That's the easiest way to do it, to be very honest. And then I can just continue because I've got another one right here and I've got another one right here. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this a little better about what I'm doing. So this is kind of what's going on. And like I said, if you look up here for this little piece right here, I have 1, 2, 3 squares that need to be filled with this little peach color. So finding these colors can be kind of challenging. Like that's pretty close right there. All right. If you need to, you can go down here to more colors and you can try to find exactly that peach color. All right. Which, I mean, this is very challenging to do. I'm just going to say sometimes you're better off just kind of going as close as you possibly can. And that's pretty close right there. All right. And then I can select these 2 and pull it down like that. See how I've got the little part of his, I think it's his fist. I don't know what it is. But since the last thing I did was fill with that peach color, then I can come over here. I know this is going to be brown right here. Actually, let's do the brown real fast. All right, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to do, let's find this nice doo-doo brown color right there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I can just pull it down 3 and I can pull it over 1. All right, and see how I've got this little piece right here. So this is what's called pixel art. And as you keep going here, you're going to get real used to the fill handles and everything else. Here's another thing that might actually help you. If you actually want to see your squares in the back of your drawing, with your with your white selection cross, go ahead and make like a real big selection here and then right click on it and you can say format cells. And right here, you can say border inside borders like that. And let's see what that looks like. So that might help you like that a little bit. So this is a really, really fun assignment. You know, I really love it a lot. And again, it's one of those assignments that just kind of gets you used to using the fill handle, the buckets, and all these different cursors in Excel. Here's the other part, and this is the part you're going to hate. You're going to kind of do the same thing with this one. You're going to shrink down your rows and columns. And then for this one, instead of just having a simple Mario with like what, 4 or 5 colors here, you actually have to choose one out of these 4 pictures to actually reproduce. All right. So let's just say that you do want to pick, let's say Jigglypuff. I'm just going to go ahead and delete all these. And I'm going to say Jigglypuff is the one I'm going to go ahead and reproduce. All right. And like I said, if your teacher or whoever's instructing you allows you to do so, you can pick different ones. It doesn't matter to me, but it should be a little bit harder than the Mario. So I think that's everything, guys. I think that's everything that we needed to go through here. We went through column width, we went through row height, we went through our 3 different cursors, and we went through making sure that we can actually show our grid lines. All right, and again, you go to format cells here and you can see border. And you can say outline, you can say inside like that, whatever helps you kind of eyeball your pixel art. So have fun with this lesson, guys. It has been one of my favorite lessons for years and years. Everybody loves it. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Again, this YouTube channel is free. All the resources are free and they're all linked below, including the lesson plan and the startup videos. So thanks a lot.